What's up, guys? Coyote Works here, heading out for another adventure, and today I've got a good friend of mine, Oregon Mike, in tow, and we're going to try to find a couple of old homestead sites out here. So these sites are around 1880 to 1900, or were established or patented between 1880 and 1900, all of these sites. So we're going to get out there and see what we can find, and then we'll camp out in the area tonight. There's some old mines out there too, so we may end up getting to the old mines. We'll just kind of have to see how the hunt for the homesteads go. That's our first priority. Coyote Works to Oregon Mike, do you copy?
I got you.
We had quite a bit of interference coming through town, so I just wanted to check and see if we had comms out here. Copy that. Just a little piece of interesting trivia for you guys. I'm driving down Oregon State Highway 27 right now, which is one of the few gravel highways left in the state. So this is actually a state highway, but it's a gravel and dirt road. It's a good route for me to get out of town and get down south in the county, so I end up taking it a lot. But I always just think it's fascinating that it's a gravel highway, and a lot of the state highways that run through Crook County were really only paved within the last 50 years or so, and this one's still not paved. All right, there's Oregon Mike. He's gonna park his truck, and we're both gonna jump in the Coyote Works Jeep Rubicon and go off and explore around here. But right here where we're at is a site of an old mine. You can see the tailing piles up there. There's a couple of tunnels around here, and here's where there were a couple of old buildings. And this is on an old historic road too that not too many people know about anymore. It's gonna get tricky. All right, so the first stop is I'm gonna try to find this old homestead. This homestead was patented in 1892. So we're gonna go see if we can find this thing. All right, well, some days don't go how you want them to. So 2 homestead sites looking for so far, and we're 0 for 0. So we're heading up one more draw. Gonna find our spot to camp for the night, and it should be within walking distance of a homestead that should still be standing. So we'll get up here another couple miles and show you guys what we find. Well, we rolled into this spot where we're gonna camp, so Mike and I each set up our rooftop tents on our rigs, and I'll show you guys that in a minute here. But you know, I always like to have some kind of a fire windbreak reflective wall, and I feel like that keeps more heat back behind the fire. But in this case, we don't have a lot of rocks right here, but we are at the site of an old cow camp. This is an old historic cow camp site here where the guys would come up here and camp while they were rounding up cows in the area. So I scrounged a few scraps of metal and incorporated those into the fire reflective wall, and that saved us a lot of time gathering rocks. And we've got a couple other odds and ends here that I'm sure that Oregon Mike and I are going to be able to figure out how to do something with later on in the evening.
A little guitar solo.
Right.
Hopefully it looks like a guitar solo and not that I'm whacking off.
Yeah, I hope not too, because if it looks like you're whacking off.
Don't use
Yeah. There's the Coyote Works tent. There's Oregon Mike's tent set up. Mike's running the CVT Mount Shasta. So there's our little camp set up. I know the light's probably kind of harsh, but Mike's got his little chair and table. I've got my chair and table. Mike's gathering firewood like an ant. He's bringing one piece at a time over to the fire. So we're going to finish setting up our camp and then maybe go find that homestead. So I've gotten a couple of questions recently on how much food I keep with me. So I just thought I'd show you guys inside this food box. I have about 10 Mountain House main meals and about 5 Mountain House breakfast meals in there. So that's about how much I keep in my food box all the time. In addition to that, I've got a couple of MREs and a duffel bag in my rig, 3 MREs, and then I've got a couple of boxes of crackers, some Drulvor, some rusk, some dried foods in a bag that I keep in my Jeep, and I'll show you guys that too. But all in all, I generally have enough food in my Jeep to keep me going for about 2 weeks or so if I had to. I could stretch it and make it last 2 weeks. Mike would be a little bit hungry, but I'd be all right.
I got scorpions.
Yeah. So this is my dry goods food bag that I keep in my Jeep. So I have in there the ever-present ranch flavored wheat thins and Dillon sea salt Triscuits, box of energy bars, Cliff bars, and a bag of almonds. And from time to time I might have different stuff in here, but that's just what I have in there now. And then I usually always have a little bit of perishable food in an ice chest with me. So I didn't bring a ton on this trip, but I have like a Lunchable, some smoked salmon, some cream cheese, some smoked meats and cheeses, and an orange. So typically I'll have a good 2 weeks worth of food or so with me.
Hey, what's that vodka doing there?
Oh, that must be Zach's.
Oh,
that
yeah.
Crazy Russian.
Yeah.
Those Ruskies like their vodka. Video, a little close up of the smoked salmon and cream cheese. Just to show everybody on my YouTube channel that Mountain House is not the only thing I ever eat.
Oh, yeah.
All right, we got our camp all set up, so we're going to take a walk up this canyon, and we should be within about a half a mile or so of that homestead site. So we're going to go check it out. Another old stump. Okay, we've stumbled upon this old road, and we believe this is the old road that leads to the homestead. So we're going to follow it, and we shouldn't be too far. We should be just within maybe a couple of 100 yards or so of the homestead. Okay guys, check this out. We just came around the corner and look what's off in the distance. Super stoked. All right, the legend is true. When we get up there, I'll tell you guys what the story is behind this homestead. Check that out. Looks like the, Mike and I were just thinking, it looks like it's the firewall to an old Model T or some kind of an old, 20s era-ish automobile. There's some more of that old car. Like fender, maybe part of the hood. Oh, there's another chunk of it right up there. That's just so cool how this homestead's just nestled down here in this little canyon. I'm guessing that's the garage the Oregon Mike's over next to. It's collapsed.
Piece of a leather strap.
Right here is the house, the homestead. Alright guys, so this is really cool, and this homestead has a really neat story behind it actually. So legend has it that the guy that homesteaded up here, he started this homestead in the early 1890s. Well then by the time Prohibition came around, times were really hard out here, and so this guy that lived out here in this homestead started distilling whiskey. So he had whiskey stills up in all these little canyons out here, and he sold a ton of whiskey around in the community here. And the revenuers could never, they called them revenue men, the revenue men could never catch up with him. They could never find his still. So this guy was one of the few guys that actually slipped away clean, but he supported his family, he supported this homestead all the way through those hard times by selling illegal whiskey. This kind of a cool story. Yeah, look at the burlap hanging right there. So they insulated paper and burlap was their insulation.
Obviously, I'm not going to take any of this, but I'd love to make something out of these old boards.
That wood's
just got
beautiful.
so much character.
That wood came up here by a wagon.
Yeah.
That's rough sawn ponderosa pine. It was probably milled in the, well, I'm not going to say the name of the mountain range, but it was milled in the mountains that are nearby here. Somebody lived out here, had a hard life, but they figured out how to do it. All right, here's the root cellar. There's where the door was. And the door's still there. So there was an outer door and an inner door. And let's go take a peek inside there and see what we can see. Oh, look, there's an old cabinet in there still. It'd be fun to dig around in there a little bit. I'm thinking that was the carriage house, and that was like the tack tool shed, tack barn. But that's probably where they would have pulled their buckboard in there in earlier years, and then later their Model T. That's one last look. We got to start hoofing it back to our camp, or it's going to get dark on us. All right, we're back to camp. Just in time. We probably have about 20 minutes worth of light left. So I did a video a couple of weeks ago and I showed you guys how the Paiutes out in this country started their fires. And I'm out here with Oregon Mike, and Oregon Mike was telling me earlier that the Cherokees, they have a little bit different fire starting method, and he's got some experience down in that area. So he's going to kind of coach me through how the Cherokee fire starting method works. So apparently this is what the Cherokees used to start their fires with.
Just like a pro.
So just like any other fire, you want to spend a lot of time on preparing the right amount of wood and everything. Then you can just kind of use this like a blowtorch, I guess, huh? There we go. Now it's going. Look at that. I'm beginning to think that the Cherokees might even have been a little sharper than the Paiute.
The stand should be pretty stable.
All right, well, we got a fire going. Mike's got some steaks going on the grill, and we're now is the relaxing time of the day. All right, guys. Well, it's about 10 o'clock, maybe a little later than that. Mike and I were just having a good time visiting around the fire, but I'm turning in now. It is getting cold tonight. It's already frosting out there, and it's probably going to get down. I don't know, we're up around getting close to 5,000 feet, so it'll probably be not super cold, but it'll probably be down around 19, 20, somewhere right around there tonight. So it's going to be pretty cold, but I've got my 20-degree Wiggy sleeping bag and an extra blanket in here, so it should be pretty good. It was an awesome day. I was stoked about finding that old homestead today. That's it for me. Coyote Works out. I'll see you guys in the morning. Morning, guys. Coffee time. Time for some coffee. Droevorst. I don't know if you guys can see that. I don't know if that's making things any better. I'm gonna get dressed and go out and make a fire. All right, well, it's time to get the fire going. Here's the mayhem of our camp from last night. We've covered up our chairs so they wouldn't get frost on them. It's a little chilly this morning, but I think it actually warmed up a few degrees during the night, so I'm gonna get a fire going, and probably by the time I get the fire going, Mike will hear me, and then he'll probably get up. Plenty of this busted up sagebrush around here, so that's what I'm going to gather for the fire this morning. Alright guys, life is good. I got the fire going. Got my light charging up. It doesn't have any direct sun, but it'll still take a little bit of a trickle charge. Just sitting there like that. And I'm going to polish off my Starbucks V and my water bottle, and then I'll make some legit coffee. Well, we're getting some breakfast going, and I don't really know what this is going to be. This is Oregon Mike's secret specialty breakfast, so I'm just following orders. He just had me cut up some sausage and put it in this pan. We're using his Lodge brand cast iron skillets here. Pulled some coals over, and I'm pretty sure whatever it is, it's going to be delicious. Bush crafted up a long-handled spatula for us.
Oh, there you go. I got a wooden spoon, but you already got that, so go for it. Oh, bacon fat. Filtered through a coffee filter when it's real hot, so there's no particles or anything. It lasts forever. I was reading somewhere where the pioneers saved the bacon fat. Obviously, they were filtering it through a coffee filter, but or you can use real bacon, but it's just a little easier this way. Chopped onion. Are you okay with onion?
Yeah?
I think it adds a little flavor. Put 1 egg right on top of a piece. I usually take the shell and break open the yolk.
Alright, so here's the finished product. I don't want any of my sausage to roll off the plate, but I've already sampled mine and it is delicious. Oh, what the hell, just in time for the hailstorm.
Huh?
That's perfect. Ah, the joys of winter camping, huh?
Yeah. Hopefully it'll be a quickie, but...
Damn, that's pretty good.
Yeah, like I say, the cheese is a little more melted normally, but... Should put a little more bacon on it.
Alright guys, well we've got most of our camp buttoned up and are just kind of waiting for the fire to burn down, but it was a pretty good trip, huh Mike?
Oh yeah.
Saw some cool things. We looked for 2 homesteads that we didn't locate, but then we struck gold on the 3rd one.
Yeah.
I think we're just going to let the fire die down and then throw the last of our gear in our rigs and start working our way back towards civilization. Had a great trip, Mike. I appreciate you driving all the way over the mountains and coming this side.
Oh yeah.
It's good to see you again.
I love it over here, you know that.
Yeah. We're just going to have to get you moved over here.
Yes, definitely.
Thanks for officiating the
Oh, sure.
the giveaway, the first ever Coyote Works channel giveaway.
Yeah.
So if you guys question the results of the giveaway, make sure that you comment on Mike's channel.
Yeah, there you go. Just ask
Oregon
me.
Mike's Adventures.
My worry is it's going to be one of those YouTube names that nobody really knows how to say quite right,
Right,
except
yeah.
for the guy that created the channel.
Yeah. Thanks for joining me on this little adventure with Oregon Mike. Take the time to jump over and check out Oregon Mike's YouTube channel. He's a great guy and he goes to a lot of interesting places out in Oregon. Once again, I want to thank you guys for your support and I appreciate you coming along with me. Until the next time, Coyote Works out.